Ladies and gentlemen, or as we like to call you, Quamrads, welcome to the Quamfy Show, episode 26. In English, as you can hear, we're going to talk today about a lot of things that are FA, a lot of things you've heard before, but there's some new angles. One of those is the digital identity space. We're going to have a look at LACChain. There are some cables that are being laid down from
Getting
South
late.
America. Getting laid. There are some cables that are getting laid from South America straight to Portugal, which is cool.
NFT. No.
NFT. Okay.
Ah.
Metaverse. We're gonna talk about the metaverse. It needs interoperability, so we're gonna have a look at that. And self-sovereign identity, EPSI. It's got to be a pretty packed episode. There's also a call for a developer leader, community leader. Is that you? We're gonna have a look at the vacancy in a bit. And as usual, as always, how's life, Tim?
I'm good. Sorry for the banter in the first minute. I'm all good.
My stride.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Sorry for that. No, it's in the middle of summer at the moment. Quiet before the storm. I'll be leaving on holidays next Thursday. And I'm just really looking forward to that. And in the meantime, I'm seeing some rumors about geopolitical tensions in the world again. And
we're not making predictions this time.
We're not making predictions this time around. And in the meantime, I just see a lot of bullish stuff around the Overledger. We cleared the FUD of last week. The dust is settling down. And just in general, all the FA posting is continuing. So we're seeing all those random articles again being posted left and right. Leads posted left and right. And business as usual. That's me. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. It is Tuesday today. Usually we record this on Thursday, but due to Tim's travel plans, we decided to move things up a little bit. So yesterday we recorded the Dutch episode, which was actually also a day early. So this is not as current as you might expect. Probably yesterday we had an update, I suspect, or it's coming today. Today's Friday for you guys. So we missed this, but you'll get that next week. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm at home, so not at my sister's place right now. Did some cleaning today here. Could use a good old clean. And I'm excited to get this episode started. It's going to be pretty packed. It's going to be a little bit of a repeat of what we did yesterday. And Tim and I discussed this prior to the show, and we agreed we're going to mix it up in the future a little bit. So we're going to go pick up the partnership series once again. We are reaching out to guests. We have a couple of ideas. If you guys have suggestions, leave them in the comments. But yeah, talking about the FA, right? The fundamental analysis. We don't do financial advice here. It kind of boils down right now to a couple of things. And one is obviously the financial segment that is hot. And that what I mean with hot is the stablecoin discussion, the CBDCs, obviously. We got the Latin American dollar coming, and that automatically leads us to which networks are connected. And that brings us kind of to partners, but also to the utility side of things, and that being LACChain. LACChain is active. Mainnet went live a couple of weeks ago. There was a lot of chatter on that. This episode is also packed with it once again. And it might seem like, oh, they have LACChain again, but it's really important what they're doing there. And if we zoom in on what is happening with LACChain, there's a couple of things what they're pioneering. One is that they are connecting an entire continent. They're being vocal about it. I mean, EPSI is also a thing, and BSN is a thing, but LACChain is actually vocal, and the rest is a little bit more on the down low. And LACChain is more of a I always find this a little bit retarded to say, but more of the developing countries. So they're not as sophisticated as we are with our infrastructure and the cables and all stuff. So they can actually skip steps. We spoke about this in the past. But what needs to be solved for that to get that right is a couple of things. And these are also the usual suspects, being digital identities, self-sovereign identities, zero-knowledge proofs, and all those interoperability things that revolve around that, which inevitably leads to stable coins, leads to tokenization, and that leads to NFTs. So we're going to talk about that today as well. And that keeps coming back. Same with Oracle. Oracle, we spoke about them last week. From their main account, they were vocal about how Quant is actually taking care of business, which is interesting. Oracle themselves, they just keep pounding out that FA for us, and also having new partnerships. Microsoft being named, Nexi making partnerships with Microsoft. So all the usual suspects just keep coming back and back, but there's always a little bit of a different angle. Hence why we are covering this.
Exactly, and the leads are kind of, how would I say that? Accumulating over the years. So we've had the first leads dating way back to the genesis of Quant Network and the ICO and the token generation event back in 2018, 2017 even, really for the very first insiders. And all those leads have been there, kind of, and they just keep accumulating. And that makes it so interesting. And we just talked about this indeed briefly before this episode, and it just boils down to a couple of usual suspects in terms of FA. And that is very interesting on the one hand, but on the other hand, we indeed need to work on getting some extra juice in there and highlighting some more, because there are 26, 27 verticals. And I think, I've said this many times, I think we are way too focused on a certain amount of them, and then that we forget about the rest. But that's for the next time.
But what is interesting is, and you are correct, and there are so many things that are happening and going on, but all these sectors are struggling with the same couple of things, and that is that they need to solve for specific problems, and that boils down to the tech, and whether that is DLT or blockchain, and we're going to dive in a little bit. But look at health. Healthcare is really interesting, and that is huge, arguably bigger than finance, because there are simply so many transactions, and security is so important. I mean, you can lose $1 or $2 billion within a business every now and then, it'll be okay. But if you lose like a million patient records, you're gonna have serious problems. And that makes that also that space is really competitive, and it is also very confidential. It's a little bit less transparent than financial, I'd argue, making it more speculative, and that makes it difficult for us to separate the wheat from the chaff, and to present something to you that is both compelling, honest, and also somewhat verifiable. And the juice is thick on some places, but it is really hard to grasp. And they also need the identity bit, and they need the zero knowledge proof bit. And what makes LACChain so interesting is that they are actually creating that, and they're implementing it, because they don't have the same limitations that many other places have. Okay, that is enough of an intro, unless you have to add something.
Yeah, we are actually 1 minute above our usual intro time. But indeed,
I thought that my Quamfy sense was tingling.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing.
Sense. We need to hashtag that when we have speculation. Our Quamfy sense was tingling.
Ooh, that sounds like a meme. No, but I mean,
that sounds like a t-shirt or a cap.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But it's also getting harder for us as a community to kind of figure stuff out as the team is less vocal. about things in Telegram. Sure, they are still vocal. They still present stuff on their website, but it's way more formal. And in the past, it was just Gilbert dropping Easter eggs left and right. And for us to do the searching, actually, he has dropped an Easter egg last week.
Boiled, unboiled chocolate eggs with surprises
Yeah.
in the center.
I mean, the community could scramble for transactions.
Gilbert the Easter Bunny, we made an episode of that. Let's make a chart for that.
Yeah.
Chart.
So he still does it, but it's just getting more formal.
Yeah.
Okay. We have been talking more than enough about the
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, what you see right here. By the way, how many % of our viewers do you think is female? I'm really curious what you guys think. And if you can have a guesstimation of what the average age is, or the age limit for the majority of viewers, I'm really curious what you guys think. So
yeah,
and that's also kind of relevant for this topic, because what you see here is a tweet by Quant developers, and it reads: "We're looking for someone who can grow Quant Network's developer community and help them make broader and deeper use of our products. You'll become both the owner of all communication with the community externally, but also their voice internally. So you will be actually going inside people's brain, and you will be telling them to build MDApps." No, I'm joking. But they are hiring, and if you think you are qualified, I definitely recommend to go here. There is a link. I will put the link also in the description. And this is a developer relations manager for London, England, and it is a full-time job.
Since they fired Colista, they need someone else. Sacked Colista.
It's quite the how do you say, job?
Sacked in the morning.
What?
Sacked in the morning. That's a song in football. It's getting sacked in
I'm
the
asking
morning.
what you call a thing like this. The job application form? No.
An application form.
Yeah. So it's quite the description. It's about 3-4 pages. Required skills. A vacancy. That's it. Required skills or experience: 5 years of relevant work experience in a similar role. 5 years experience in code developing in one or more of the following languages: Java, TypeScript, Express, Spring Boot. Experience in developing projects that require working with third-party vendors and developers. Experience of blockchain and or fintech. Ability to empathize with engineers from different backgrounds: backend, web, mobile, etc. Excellent written and verbal community in English is a must. Creative thinker with the ability to provide creative solutions to complex issues. Strong interpersonal skills, friendly, positive attitude. Comfortable being an ambassador for Quant on social media and other digital channels. Public speaking, presenting, startup, scale-up experience, preferred but not required. Life at Quant. Is this interesting, Tim?
Nah, it's not.
We aim to be one of the most desirable employers in fintech. Somewhere you are valued and inspired to do the best work of your career alongside a high-performance team that feels the same. That's why, in addition to a competitive salary and performance-related bonus, we provide a pension scheme, health insurance, life insurance, paid parental leave, paid sick leave, physical and mental well-being perks, including online fitness classes, online GP consultations, and discounted gym memberships. Our shared values.
Are we really going through that?
No, we're not. Hold your horses. Calm down. Look at this in the description. There's also an application form, obviously, and highly recommend, if you feel like you qualify, to go there and go help us out. Obviously, for tipping this, we need some juicy details. I don't know, I'm joking.
Is Gil really a lizard? We need to know. Is he one of the lizard people? We need to know.
Is Gil a lizard?
I'm just asking questions. You never know.
The
Are we being sponsored by QNT? You don't know. We might. I'm just asking questions, sir.
the DMs we get, ladies and gentlemen.
I am not insinuating. This is organic.
Okay, I'm gonna elaborate on this a bit. Tim got a DM,
Or is it?
and he got a DM from somebody, and he asked a lot of the questions that Tim just asked, and not about the lizard and stuff. It was a little bit more thought out, but
Quamfy launch.
Tim showed this to me and to our backend. We call it the think tank. Okay, how am I going to respond to this? And he decided to be very eloquent about it, and he wrote like a page of answers, sequential, and Tim did an amazing job. But he got a response, and the response was also pretty extensive and point by point. He actually is like, yeah, you could be right, but you could also be wrong, and maybe, but maybe not, and yeah, I don't believe that, I don't feel that, and that was on topics as token utility partnerships, etc. And it kind of felt like Tim was spreading the teachings of evolution, and the other person was a firm believer of the creation story, and there was a total mismatch in what was happening and what was going on, and it was, well, Tim just alluded to that a little bit, and it made me laugh.
I mean, sure, and that is the thing, right? I mean, that person might be right in certain aspects, but that is exactly the risk that we take. That is investing. You need to take risk. If you don't take risk, you're never going to make any significant amount of money.
No.
And if you don't risk it, you're not going to make it. And
I'm gonna go check the windows.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Will
I have
be
a mosquito infestation again.
Nice. No, just to kind of add to this, I mean, I get these kind of DMs, and I'm always like, sure. I mean, you're very right to send me those questions, and that's fine. And I will always respond to them. I'll try to be eloquent. But at some point, you need to do your research. You need to step up your game, because claiming at this stage, with the tokenomics we know, and also with the on-chain activity that we see, that what was it? That large institutions and companies and stuff don't need Quant and will therefore not stack it. You're making a total fool out of yourself. Of course, they don't need Quant personally. Of course, they're not going to stack it. But because of their usage of Overledger, because of their licenses that they pay, they will need QNT. They are going to generate tons of traffic, which consequentially needs QNT as a translation. That's where the QNT goes. It's not going directly into their pockets. Which kind of sane company is going to buy a crypto asset? Except for Tesla and with its techno king, Tesla, by the way. Sorry, it's an inside joke. That's not going to happen. And then also claiming that people in the community are getting paid by Quant. I am not getting paid. I'm not sure about Jarno though. Well, I mean, I might be a misfit here.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh dear. We have you're creating a personal vendetta this way.
Yeah.
But I am pretty confident that Quant is not giving people money, because if it did, I would have known. I would literally have known. I would have gotten us a bag of money at this point.
But are you trying to tell me that you are in control of your finances? Nah, but it's and I know where this is coming from. I mean, there are a lot of projects that are just straight up garbage. Quant is harder to understand because most people get into the I want to be a millionaire, so I'm buying a million XRP because they're so cheap, or something like that, and they get spoon fed all the blockchain stuff and how the coin works, and practically every project is tailored for retail. So it makes sense, especially since within those groups also the information is usually, my experience, not very high quality. There's a lot of hearsay and just a lot of yeah, most people have just been taught by other people in those groups. There's usually not a huge back end like we have with council and council. And the culture is usually not per se about educating, not all projects, but most. So when people then come to Quant and the first thing they hear that it's on Ethereum, they don't have a blockchain, and that they are not the target audience. What? Not me? Who then? All those nasty companies. Ew. And then it becomes even more difficult because companies don't have to buy your tokens. Okay, but how do I make money then? So it's a layer cake of difficulty for Quant in itself, even for people like me that, praise the Lord, started with Quant. Even for me, it was difficult to understand because there's so many different layers to this. And if you got brainwashed by some doggy coin group about what the reality of investing is and the blessings of DeFi, and then you come into the Quant community where we all praise Lord Gilbert, our Lord and Savior, the cult where we adore interoperability and we breathe Quant and no other tokens are allowed.
We literally told the community just shut up and just wait.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works in crypto. It's usually, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to announce it. And then we're going to do an announcement of the announcement. And it's going to be great. It's going to be the best. Yeah. And then we're not entering deploying the mainnet. No, we are going to do an exploration phase for the next couple of years. And sure, Gilbert has mentioned gateways.
Hold on. We're going to mint an additional 500 billion tokens.
Hey! Yeah.
Nah. Oh, but we're going to add staking.
We're going to add staking. Yeah.
You can add 50%.
We're going to solve an issue every other network already solved. Yay!
You can add 50% API by staking.
If it hits $1, you'll be
dump
a trillionaire.
40%, 50% every week. It's a little bit of bitching and but yeah.
No, but I mean,
if you're new here, this is yeah, how we roll.
I think Quant has kind of went through that stage for a bit, though. I mean, certainly in the beginning, it's kind of degenerate in a way, on Telegram at least, and they completely dodged Telegram now, leading to additional thought that the person in Telegram who has been there since inception is not Gilbert Verdian.
Just that guy.
Yeah. Apparently it's just a tech guy. Yeah, and so whatever they do, it's it will never be all right for the community. The funniest thing is
he was a lizard still. He was a lizard.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is once everything is green, people believe the story, and once it's red, people don't anymore. No, but to get back to that, I mean, I wouldn't say degenerate, but they were more informal in the beginning. And they completely dodged that, and they went to newsletters and how most companies do it. Just a change of perspective, and I think we need to respect that, and we will see how it goes in the future.
Okay, let's move on, Tim.
Yeah, I've vented enough.
Good. Lord Quartonia, Chectonia Longhold. Notice Ultra Quamfy within our community, one of the people that is endlessly scouring the internet and drowning us in FA all day long, spamming as he calls it. He made a tweet. This is a thread, and we're gonna have a quick go at this. He is found on Twitter as @BigBags30K. And the first tweet is a historical theme that has surfaced from time to time with the Quant community. When marketing. Let's break some down. Some may scroll past things without realizing. let's begin with @Digital EU. Okay, so Digital EU wrote high speed and affordable #broadband connection between Europe and Latin America, question mark. Yes, @LALink_cable can do that and more. This very first 6,000 kilometer long submarine cable provides a direct data route connecting isolated regions and reaching 65 million users. Read more here. Is this clickable? I forgot. No, it's not. Could have seen that. So that's cool. We're going to continue with the next tweet, and then I'll bring some juice to this. The @Bella program established the @LALink_cable connecting EU and LATAM, Latin America, @RedClara and GEAN, GEANT news. So this is the link. I'll put it in the description. Shaping Europe's digital future. Bella program completes cable construction connecting Europe and Latin America. Next tweet. Géant, I think you pronounce it like that, and Latin America Research and Education Network, RedClara, has signed an indefeasible right to use a contract with LALink, I'm sorry guys, for a spectrum on its subsea cable system linking Europe to Latin America. So the cable is done. You can see it right here, and we will zoom in a little bit, but it is literally from Brazil to Portugal. This image reads Europe's leading collaboration on e-infrastructure and services for research and education. And RedClara, the Latin American Research and Education Network, today announced the signing of an indefeasible right to use contract with LALink for spectrum on a direct submarine cable connecting Europe and Latin America. Next tweet reads years of development coming together for the acceleration of education networks coming together to support growth in all participants. And this is about Bella, building the European link to Latin America. This brings us to the @the_IDB, @IDB_lab, the multilateral investment fund, to collaborate under the MOU. You know what that stands for, Tim? MOU? To develop the LACChain.
The MOU?
Yeah.
No clue.
Okay. So the IDB Lab agreement for development of blockchain ecosystem in Latin America. In short, the Latin American cooperation of advanced networks with Clara and
Memorandum of Understanding.
Yeah. So the IDB Lab signed on Monday, October 19, 2020, a memorandum of understanding with the aim of creating a non-exclusive framework for cooperation and understanding, and to also facilitate collaboration between the parties for the development of LACChain, a project for the creation of a blockchain ecosystem in Latin America and the Caribbean. So, and this is where it gets more interesting for us, because as you guys know, LACChain uses Quant for interoperability ever since 2020, 2021, something like that. A specific article of interest is Article 4, where there is a focus on blockchain infrastructure, blockchain-based identity, and the tokenization of money. And there's an image here reading Article 4, areas of cooperation, developing new material, tools, and concepts as blockchain infrastructure, blockchain-based digital identity, and tokenized fiat money. There are other bits. Check out this thread. Guys, bring a lot of juice to the community. Quant Network has established a partnership with LACChain for the tokenization of money, enabling money to roam like a mobile phone, also contributing to the leading edge of identity solution, #DID, #VC, #ZKP, #VP. In case you want to take notes, it's in the Twitter thread. So here you see the announcement of Quant and as a LACChain partner. Interoperability effectively allows money, assets, and transactions to roam the same way that your mobile phone roams, says our CEO and founder in the Sunday Times, feature of FinTech report.
Yeah.
What was that, Tim?
No, I just said, yeah.
Yeah. Our exciting work with LACChain, pan-regional blockchain initiative in Latin America and the Caribbean, is transforming cross-border payments and supporting financial inclusion. We're delighted to have contributed to this important project. LACChain's ID framework is a set of recommendations for blockchain-based, interoperable, and regulatory compliant digital identifiers, credentials, and wallets. Hashtag the future of finance today. So
What I find,
because this is a huge thread, so I'm gonna hold off here. Go ahead, Tim.
no, what I find interesting, I'm not sure. Could you just scroll down a bit through the thread so I can kind of read what is in there? Obviously, also have Oracle that tweeted about it. I feel like LACChain, and that's also the reason why it's such a recurring theme on the show. Also because we're getting paid by LACChain. No, is that it feels like they are completely open about what they're doing. Last episode, we went through the LACChain dashboard together with Boss, which kind of, well, wasn't really covered because of all the noise we made about the drama that we covered and about NFTs. But the LACChain dashboard was on the show last week. And they are open. And that is also the reason why we know about the Latin American dollar before all other CBDCs, and why Quant openly admitted to be part of that process. Because they can be open about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I just find that striking. I feel like LACChain is a test case of what we will be seeing further down the line, further in the years towards 2030.
Yeah.
When things start opening up. Because they can literally experiment here, and that parallels your hypothesis, or not really, this theory that in developing countries you can roll out new technologies faster. Just like it's just like a lab where you can
it is
do all kinds of experiments, and this is really cool as an example. And Quant can be fully part of it. Gilbert can be proud here of what he's doing, and he clearly is proud, because otherwise they wouldn't be putting out all these articles.
They are proud of it, and they are involved. And if you look at indeed what you say, LACChain is like the laboratory for the world right now. Just those examples we gave from the first bit of the thread, you could actually, all the buzzwords and all the acronyms and abbreviations that we spoke of in the beginning in the introductions, with the zero knowledge proof and the identity and all that stuff, that is all being implemented, and it is all being done.
It's already here
with Overledger. And what I think is, if you look at how the deadlines and the targets of countries right now are, and I don't know them by heart, but most were 2023, and they are now like 2024, 2025 at best. I think everybody is just like, okay, let South America see how it will be done. And maybe the cent dollar was an initial, I don't know, this is pure speculation, but maybe that bit was the first minor test case to see if stuff works. Again, no confirmed FA for me on that. But that could have been the small scale, you know, the little test tube and another test tube, and see if it goes bang or if it just sizzles. And now they're just going to try it with an entire continent. And the Latin American dollar, Gilbert confirmed several occasions, is going to be built on Quant. And we know tokenize. We discussed this a couple of shows back. It's going to be instrumental in this. Yeah, the way you can create tokens with tokenize, it is literally as easy as I can do it. It's freaking 15 clicks and 10K for a tier 1, 9.6. Okay, and then you can have your own token.
Yeah.
And the same goes for NFTs, and then you have the QRC 721. We also made a video on that, looking into this. But all these things are super important because they are the building blocks to get this done, to get this working. And what I mean by that is you cannot simply create a wallet for a phone and just assume it to work. There are all these dependencies. You need all those little bitty building blocks. So that were all the hashtags that Quamfy had summed up. So the verifiable credentials, the digital identity, the self-sovereign identity, maybe, and all those things, they are all dependencies. They're all crucial precursors for getting the entire thing built. I would not be surprised personally, and know this might sound as FUD, that the 2023 is a little ambitious, but we don't really know how far along they are. I mean, money is easy. Money is simple. If you want to create money, you have USDC, and you can use that right now. We had a stablecoin episode as well. The technology for this is there. MetaMask will just work, and freaking PayPal accepts crypto to a degree. And there are all these other wallets that work, but it is not ideal. Why not? Because you do not know who you're in business with. And maybe it is inevitable to know whom you are in business with because of identity issues. So there's no anonymity, because identity is always prevalent with a bank account transfer. Maybe you don't want that.
Yeah.
So there's all these solutions that need to be created, so you have an all-in-one package that can both protect identity, reveal identity, make you transfer money, and also have that all being usable with whatever phone, whatever network, etc. It all needs to be interoperable.
So you're basically saying that because money is the easiest, technically. Money is the easiest thing we can implement on the technical side, right?
I think it is,
and since we have no we do have legal hurdles we need to tackle, but because of the developing continent theory, there will be at least less.
They have nothing right now. They pay more to send 50 euros or $50. They practically need to pay more than they are sending to get money from there to somewhere.
So you're basically saying because they have less legal hurdles to tackle, that they can implement it easier, and since money is the easiest tool we can implement on the technical side, this is a very logical step. And it also ties into you went through over the Ella link, the Ella cable for a bit. Could you circle back to that, by the way? Because it shows you something else, and I want to point that out. Nice. This is for the viewers, for the listeners, paint a picture of the world map in your mind. You're doing whatever you're doing.
Where do you want to go? Right here, Tim? Or
no, I just want to go to the Ella link, and then we probably have that one website where all the submarine cables are.
What do you want? Do you want the world map?
Go to the Ella link. Yeah, well, you showed the Ella link. So can we go to the tweet for a bit?
I'm so confused. Okay.
No. The link, the cable from Brazil to Portugal. You just went over it. Yeah, here.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's another tweet. If you go down a bit, down there.
This.
Yeah. And if you see it, and then you see the picture, and it shows you that there is a direct connection between I think it's Fortaleza in Brazil and southern tip of Portugal, and it goes past the Cabo Verde, Cape Verdean Islands. And if you put that in perspective to the world map in all the cables, and that's the other website. Yeah. And then when you zoom in a bit towards the Atlantic Ocean, you can see that there's actually only one cable directly from Europe heading towards South America.
Yeah. So...
And that is a very practical example of what we are seeing right now. They literally lack the infrastructure. It's all being developed as we speak.
Yeah. so this is the LACChain what you see right now, and for the people that are not watching, we have a world map. On the left we have the Canada, the United States, and South America, and on the right we see Africa and Europe, up until Russia, so somewhere over there. That's where we draw the line right now, and we only highlighted the LACChain, and you can see there is one single pink line going from South America to Europe. And that is actually the only one. And this is a submerged cable. And I don't know of the size or the technology. Don't find it all that interesting. But this wasn't there maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And it wasn't operational. So all the traffic, see if I can undo this. All the traffic you can see right here that started in Fortaleza, Brazil, that had to go through to the United States, that could be done directly. Then it had to be transferred within the United States once again, and then there are all these connections to Europe. So what are the implications of this? Latency, so your ping will be garbage.
To give you a practical example, I was sorry, Jarno.
Go ahead.
Oh, I remember on PlayStation 3 with Battlefield 3, we were a team, right? And some gamers from our team, they were from Brazil. Those guys, when they were jumping around, they had so much ping. That was insane. It went through the roof. But now I'm looking at those cables, so I understand why. It first had to go from Brazil to the US, and then it had to cross the Atlantic. Now it just goes directly to Portugal.
Or through the Southern Atlantic, and then you can go to Nigeria, and then from Nigeria, you can go to Ghana, New Guinea, Morocco, Spain, and then to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So it was a giant detour. And if you can see this image, I highly recommend looking up the link in the description, because you could actually see all the submerged cables in the world.
Yeah.
And it's astounding. And what you can also see right here now, South America is now pretty well connected. There's kind of like this web that is now surrounding it, which is obviously amazing because these cables provide a lot of bandwidth.
But still, it's poorly connected. If you look at the west coast of South America, that's the east coast.
Yeah.
That's the west coast. I mean, for example, if they want to connect to Asia, you first need to go, all the way north, and then you can cross the Pacific Ocean. There's not a direct link linking, through the Pacific Ocean towards, all those islands. I don't even know what those islands groups are called. And then towards Australia.
There are a ton of cables, then again, from the west coast of the United States straight to Asia, obviously. Asia is invisible because there are so many cables.
Yeah.
That is literally a web between Japan, Korea, Taiwan, etc. So this is all connected. Oh yeah, this we found also very interesting. You got here the Indian Ocean, and the Indian Ocean is also the Gulf of Aden, full of cables up into all the straits and the Mediterranean and stuff.
The Red Sea is literally red because of all the cables that run through it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of connecting going on, and this is also really interesting because if you look at Russia, Russia is not connected. Well, it is connected, but not as much. There's one gray connection cable moving around Russia, and that doesn't even seem to connect to Canada. It just appears to connect to the Asian countries. And it also stops in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is testimony to. I just found it interesting that is kind of it.
Yeah.
And obviously, what you do on land, and I don't know the capacity of this cable, but that just struck me as odd that there are so few connections there, whilst the United States is and Europe, nearly every country appears to have, every coastal country has multiple connections to all these difficult networks. But these cables, people, don't be fooled. This is your internet. And even if you think that you have a wireless phone, those cables are needed. Yes, we have satellite and you can use satellite to a degree, but there's always constraints with bandwidth. Same as with your Wi-Fi. If you connect 50 devices, your internet will have issues.
Yeah.
And sometimes even less. There are so many downsides to wireless connections for things. That's also why all the payment apps on phones work if you do not have a cell reception. You can just pay with your phone regardless. Not if your battery is empty, of course. But all the Dutch payment apps, at least, you can use them when you have no internet connection, and it will just cache the payment on your phone as well, and it will send it through regardless. It's
Fascinating. Can we?
Yeah.
I'm just really. This is kind of interesting still, and then we'll quit the stuff about the cables. Can you zoom in on like the Eastern Sea, like near Scandinavia, towards Russia, like with Kaliningrad and stuff? Is there a connection between Kaliningrad and Russia? I'm wondering.
I don't know where Kaliningrad is, dude.
It's next to Poland and Lithuania. It's a little part of Russia. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's connected. So there's a direct connection because that's whole part is Russia, and then it's
really?
completely landlocked in between Poland and Lithuania, but they do have a connection apparently through the sea. Interesting stuff. So even there, they are reliant on cables that run through the sea. Interesting. Okay, enough about cables. Although we did have this little part yesterday, as in the Dutch episode, we were talking about wireless internet. And then Paul Krugman, I'm not sure if that's in this episode. he made that prediction back in the 90s that it would be.
Oh, yeah.
Disaster.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, we might skip over it. It's a bit of a redundant part. We just made the example that things don't always play out as they do.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's a bit of a repeat of the Dutch episode at this point, but it's still interesting, I think.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was in the meantime looking, hiding away his holiday pictures.
Yeah. So Mr. Paul Krugman, Nobel Prize winning economist, said by 2005 or so, it will become clear that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. Also credit Council for this, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some other...
Another one, Bob Metcalf.
We can't see it.
Oh, did I close this? Oh,
yeah, we're now looking at ourselves. I can wave to the people back on the television. Okay. Hello.
August 16th, 1993. Wireless computing will flop permanently. One of the highlights, after the wireless mobile bubble burst this year, we will get back to stringing fibers. Yeah, Mr. Metcalf, you are wrong. And the internet may be just a passing fad as millions give up on it. Net loses 2 million. Britons have logged off the internet. That's 5 December 5th, the year 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the internet is dying, people. You heard it here first. Well, we all know the situation right now. It's only evolving, and especially with what's going on with LACChain, and we talked about the identity stuff, and I talked about this yesterday in Dutch as well. All these things that we're doing right now weren't possible in the early 2000s because internet is just not safe. It is not safe, and that's not according to me, but it's according to Gilbert and a bunch of other people. The internet is not suitable to store data because everything can be stolen. And we spoke about NFTs earlier, and we spoke about and that's directly the bridge to the interoperability, the key to creating value in the metaverse. This is written by Rebecca Hackworth for Quant on August 1st. and
We
and,
cannot
and
see anything. You're not sharing your screen.
you can always say it in a tone.
Huh?
No, it's okay. So
What?
interoperability, the key to creating value. Never mind.
I should do it in a. Ooh, I should do it in another tone. We cannot see your screen.
So what is interesting is that if we want to solve the identity bit, we want to solve the security bit. You cannot do this with the internet right now. That's why they're trying to create something new. The SAT ODAP story is that. And the interoperability issue. Back in the day, in the 2000s, we were busy solving interoperability between Yahoo and Netscape, or God knows what were those back then, because you simply could not send an email from one to the other. Now this is a given. This is not the same for digital assets. Thanks to blockchain, thanks to DLT right now, we can do a lot more security-wise. So we can put a lot more things on the internet without it getting stolen. And that's one of the things that NFT could solve in the future. I know that some community members, for instance, Galileo, are actually creating the NFTs for the physical world. I know of some people that are busy creating NFTs for music. And NFTs in this case is not a picture of a monkey, but NFT can be whatever you want. You can simply code it to do whatever you want. And that is what is also happening with LACChain and creating of digital identity. Those will be NFTs in a way. And those NFTs can be programmed, and you can do whatever you want to do. But it needs to be interoperable. QRC 721 will do that. And it needs blockchain to live on. It needs security. And the benefit of blockchain over the internet is everyone, and I gave the example yesterday of me making a very pretty picture of my dog. It's my picture, and it is my dog. But if Tim finds that picture and he publishes it somewhere, my dog is just my property. He has no legal rights as a legal entity as a human does. So he can just sell that picture after he threw one filter over it, and that will be that. And I have to prove that the picture is mine for all the money he makes from that. In the future, you have your digital identity, and Rebecca will talk about this in a bit, and I'll show you what I'm on about. But there will be several identities. You will have your government identity, and you will have your maybe internet or whatever identity. And everything you do on the internet, probably that will be an overstatement, but just about everything will be tied to your account. So that will solve a lot of problems and create a lot of problems. But at least if I create value, for instance, the Quamfy show in this case, if this is tied to Tim's and my identity, anybody can use our content. They are free to do so. But you cannot do this without leaving a trail that says, this is Jarno's, this is Tim's. And if we talk Metaverse, this becomes even more important, because then we're going to talk about everything needs to be interoperable with everything. And that means that you can potentially, for a simple example, use this thing from a certain game. Yesterday, I gave the example of the AWP, Dragon Lore from Counter-Strike. Why can you not use that skin in Player Unknown's Battleground, for instance, where you also have an AWM? It's a little bit different, but it's the same. Why can't you use it there? And that's because they have all these silos and these ecosystems. And we touched on that extensively in other episodes. But right now, people don't want to share their shit. And with them, I mean, in this example, EA Sports or EA Games, they do not want to share with ZeniMax or with God knows who else.
Ubisoft.
But in the future, Ubisoft, yeah, man. And rightfully so. Because everything that somebody else takes can merely be taken. Because you have no easy way to know where it came from.
Mm.
And in the metaverse, it's pretty simple. It's same as it is in my house. Everything that is in my house is mine. And everybody knows it's mine because it's in my house. But if I leave it in front of my door on the street, somebody can just pick it up and take it away. how am I going to prove this is mine? And on the internet, it is the same. We have our profile, which is kind of our house, and we put up something that is really pretty that we created. Then somebody else takes it from your house and takes it somewhere else and says, hey, this is mine. That's a problem. That's also a problem for developers. But in the future, when you have the digital identity thing, you have the blockchain thing, then everything is tied with code. Everything is trackable. If you want to, you can make it trackable. You can make it not trackable. And it is all secure because you hold your own security code or your own private key to your data that's on the blockchain. And nobody can unlock that unless they have your private key. And I'm really oversimplifying it because I do not understand it any better than this.
No.
Not gonna lie, but that is how it will be. And right now, there's no way to lock your door on the internet. You can use ad blockers, VPN. You can look at the little lock icon in the top left of your browser bar, which is all good and well. But most of those things are not automatic, and people make mistakes, and other people abuse other people's, call it whatever you want. In the future, that will be different. You will just have your identity, you log in, and everything will be automatic. And within the metaverse, you can use everything wherever you want. That is the dream, at least, without being robbed over and over again from all your beautiful shit. Tim.
Yeah. I'm still not a metaverse expert. I'm really sorry for that. And I just noticed, and that's also the thing we addressed on the Dutch episode, is that to me, it's still not really clear what the metaverse is going to look like. Like in my head, it's like a game. I talked about the PlayStation Home example, and we also gave the Google Glass as example, because those applications have been there for what, 10 years in case of Google Glass, and at least 14 years, I think, with PlayStation Home.
I remember now. You can also do that with your camera. You can point it at something, and it will just scan it. And
yeah,
it
exactly.
will show you what it is. Yeah.
Artificial reality, that's called, right?
Augmented
reality.
Yeah.
My brain is
reality's interaction
augmented.
with the that's with the real world. That was the Pokemon Go example. Yeah, exactly. and the VR is the virtual reality. I gave the example that you can go do your shopping simply from being in your house with a VR set and literally log into a virtual or digital representation of the real world. And you can actually just walk out your door to go to your groceries, walk into the store, and you can see actually all the shelves being exactly as they are because they're being updated in real time. You can just grab it, throw your basket as you're used to, if you want to, instead of scrolling through pages, and then just go to the cashier, put everything on the conveyor, and then just walk away.
Yeah.
And then your groceries are going to be delivered at your door.
Yeah, that would indeed be an example.
And meanwhile, while you're there, you can bring your AWP Dragon Lore, and you can just be shooting motherfuckers, because it is all virtual. So you can multitask, and you can then, even if you want to, just jump into your car and just drive around, and then I'm sorry, I just thought this up.
I think we've been demonetized.
Yeah, we keep getting demonetized. But how cool is that? If you can literally make your own city, kind of like GTA. If you're just done and you close the shop, and then you just go, okay, let's go to GTA mode. And you can actually walk into, oh no, let's not go there. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of possibilities, and it's going to be really
And in fact, well, game worlds are already metaverses, right? We have seen all these applications already. It's just a matter of, now I think the challenge is to actually connect it towards the real world and move further and further. And also what is being said here in this article is something we've seen before, and that was the connection between what Mark Zuckerberg said but when he gave Facebook a different name and turned it into Meta. He said in that speech that to unlock the potential of the metaverse, we're going to need interoperability. Then Greg Lund made the famous
Interoperable.
Yeah, exactly. Made that meme, and then Gilbert replied with yes, Mark, interoperable. That is something that we know, and we know the company is aware of it, and it's just really nice to see it on the website. Gives me a bit more faith. And here we see Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew
tweeting.
tweeted, without interoperability, there can be no metaverse. And that leads to the same article as Quant, fat fingers. For now, the hashtag Metaverse consists of separate walled ecosystems owned by tech companies and communities. A single unified open environment may never emerge. That's why interoperability is key, writes our head of communications, Rebecca Hackworth. The article is what I started with a little bit earlier. According to Bloomberg Intelligence, I'm just going to grab some snippets because we spoke about the entire thing in my previous monologue. So according to Bloomberg Intelligence, the metaverse is a big business, predicted to become an 80 billion industry by 2024. Large tech companies are securing dominant positions by bringing to market new abilities to create content, utilizing virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, and connecting the customer experience across multiple channels. A quote from Gilbert, quote, the benefits of interoperability are massive, a quantum leap that mirrors the real world where people can move themselves, goods, and money freely between ecosystems without changing identity. Then there's a bit on Web 3.0. Let's see. In these new worlds, digital assets and blockchain technology will play an outsized role. Singular digital identities could be twinned with real-world identities. NFTs, digital certificates that represent unique music, video, art, collectibles, or tied to physical goods and services could become new commodities owned and traded by individuals. Today, NFTs have been mainly associated with digital artwork, but their use has broader applications for enterprises. They could protect and digitize financial instruments, provide controls to patients to manage their health records, and convert intellectual property to monetize digital and non-tangible assets in new ways. Non-tangible assets, sorry for that. Then there's a bit on balancing verified credentials and the need for privacy. This is also really interesting. It reads, the key to bringing this vision to life is verifiable credentials. So those are the VC from the hashtag in the tweet from Quamfy. Digital identities and transactions that can be cryptographically checked and assured. Gilbert Verdian says verifiable credentials ensure that the NFT you buy, whether it's a digital artwork or a financial instrument like a bond, is authentic and the seller is legitimate. This works to prevent fraud and builds confidence in these new platforms. Zero-knowledge proof using cryptography to balance verification and protect individual privacy will also help build the metaverse in a scalable manner. Then a bit on walled gardens. What is interesting is some of us are actively working on these challenges. Overledger's tokenized API creates digital assets designed for interoperability that can transact across different DLTs. Like an email sent between Gmail and Outlook, an interoperable NFT could move from one big tech metaverse to another. Likewise, an interoperable stablecoin could be used for payments across platforms between disparate geographies. It may be years before we see the metaverse as ubiquitous as the internet, and for now, there is little financial incentive or international standards that compel large companies to create an open platform. However, in the interim, we have mini empires. We can utilize interoperable digital assets and payments to help individuals have a more portable and seamless experience.
Yeah.
These were some highlights from this article. I highly recommend going through the entire thing.
Yeah. And before we move,
yes.
Just one remark, and I find it interesting that they say that well, currently there are not really big players in the game. Oh, my light! Haha! This is an Easter egg for the people watching the video. It's very interesting.
But you just told everybody.
Yeah.
Tim has a smart home, and it is so smart that it just shuts itself off every time the time expires.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love those
This is
tech
the
things.
metaverse, Jorno. This is the
Yeah,
metaverse in live action. No,
I do love that shit, but I hate it when it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and this to me would be unacceptably annoying.
this is the metaverse. I do it on my phone and I control the real world.
No, man, I just hacked your shit.
Fair.
The fact that you have doubts is just
yeah,
priceless.
might be true, might be not true.
Carry on.
But they say that there are currently mini empires, and sure, that's true. I think they're hinting at the crypto world where we have all those how do you say those metaverse games and stuff. But also the big players are stepping in.
I think
right?
he's hinting at the much bigger companies. I think he's hinting at Apple, Microsoft,
Facebook,
Google. All those are all empires. And the same probably goes for Sony and Samsung and all those things. I mean, it all kind of works. I mean, I have a Sony receiver and I have a Philips television, and it all works with Android because I'm an Android bitch. But it is not truly interoperable. It works if we give all our shit to Google.
yeah,
or Apple or whatever. But it's still an
okay,
intermediary.
true. And that ties into the next item. Hey.
But you were making a point, and I butted in. What did you want to say?
No. It's that's true, and I think just saying that in the meantime, because that is the thing, you're kind of fake in what they mean. Because I think personally, that well, what they are saying kind of hints to giving interoperability to like the smaller applications, so crypto applications where people can just build an end app or use Overledger to connect their metaverse worlds to each other. And at some point, it will probably be key that all those companies, the big companies which have incentives to protect their walled gardens, their ecosystems. At some point, it will be necessary for them to go get interoperable with each other. As we see in gaming, you can already game cross-platform. So at some point, that will happen, and we need a technique for it. In fact, we do have the technique. It's called Overledger.
Yeah, it's going to need. It's going to take time.
Yeah,
I think there are too many. Let's call them boomers that are still owning and running many of these companies. And this is just difficult stuff. It is difficult. It is complex. It is even complicated. And how do you explain to somebody that has built an empire with his bare hands, came from nothing, that he should just make everything quote unquote open source or at least interoperable? How do you explain the nuances? And I know that this can be done, and it's not necessarily a very good example, maybe, but it is difficult to embrace your competitor and create something that is bigger than the two separate entities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, true. But at the same time, your product can work together with other products, and that's already what we're seeing. So that still means that you can still have a lot of customers in your empire that you built with your bare hands, who are still using your device, but to
I agree.
access the big metaverse, and that's already literally what we're seeing, right? I mean, I'm using a MacBook, you're using a Microsoft device, yeah, and we can still talk to each other. Sure, we do it through the Zoom ecosystem. That is our collective. Well, that's where we share a collective interest.
The interoperability module is Zoom. Yeah, now.
Yeah,
but it's all solutions, and it works, but It's not. Let's move on to the
Let's
next.
move on.
So,
We're going nowhere.
yeah. So, okay, what we have here is this is Misha, and I don't know Misha. She looks really nice and kind. She showed up somewhere. I can't remember where. And I'm sorry if I'm not giving you credit, and you posted this in some channel of ours. Uh, at Misha Da Vinci, Mesha Da Vinci, as the famous artist. It's a thread every single day. The 5 tech giants use your online property to make massive profits. Last year alone, they took $1.4 trillion. Here's what you need to know and do. So the internet was designed to be free for users. Instead, these corporations turned it into their cash cow by collecting and monetizing your digital property. Oh, I want to post a disclaimer here. I kind of read this thread already. It may sound really conspiratorial and oh, the big man is doing this and that, and this is not what we intend to do. I think this is pretty factual, and there's obviously a bunch of speculation in there, but it paints a really good picture of how these companies make money and how making digital identity and self-sovereign identity, etc., how creating that will actually depower these entities and bring control back to us. So I want to make that really clear. And I do not agree with everything that's being said and written, but like I said, it paints a really good picture. So whether you know it or not, you pay a heavy price every time you log on. And you see here Google, Amazon, Apple, I don't know this logo, and Windows.
Microsoft.
This is this Microsoft now? No,
That's
this is
Meta.
Microsoft. Oh, this is Meta, yeah, of course. I haven't been on Facebook in like 8 years, something like that. So these are like the big ones. On the internet, you are no more than a serf. You don't control your own identity. You can't take your content or community from one site to another. You are tied to a platform forever. And here you see a bunch of people with leather straps to their chest that they are tugging a boat. Even worse, you're being surveilled. Your every move is tracked and turned into massive profits for Google, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and others. Here's the breakdown. Google. In 2021, Google's revenue was $257.6 billion. Most of it came from advertising. This means from tracking your online behavior and identifiers and selling it to the highest bidder. Here you see a graph of Alphabet, and you can see their revenue streams. YouTube advertising, etc., make up for 70%-ish, 69. Then you have Google Ads, 12.3, and other bets is 0.4. And Google Other is like Google Music and Google Home, 80.3%. The US constitutes for 46% of that revenue, other Americas 5%, 31%, as far as I can see, is the European Union, and about 18% is Asia. So here's how Google is tracking you. Google Search, Chrome, YouTube, Gmail, Maps, and Calendar collect a shocking amount of personal information about you. Google uses your personal profile to sell ads on their search engine and on over 3 million other websites and apps. Okay, so this is pretty well known to most people, and we give them explicit permissions to do this. Otherwise, you all can't use all their services, but you can minimize the risk. But this is not a tech channel, but you can look into that, how to limit those exposures. Google Analytics, you can use a free service used by millions of websites and apps, is the biggest cross-site tracker on the internet. It lurks behind the scenes of around 70% of the 75,000 top sites collecting your information. Apple, in 2021, Apple's revenue was $365.8 billion. Apple is not in the ad business and breaches privacy is a fundamental human right. That's not the whole story, though. Their revenue is 24% Europe, 42% Americas, 8% Japan, 90%, 19% the Greater China, and rest of the Pacific, 7%. iPhone is 52.5% of their revenue, iPad 8.7%, Mac 9.6%, wearables 10.5%, and 18.7% come from services like Google Pay, music, and TV. So here's how Apple is tracking you. Per the New York Times, Google pays Apple between 8 and 12 billion annually to make Google the primary search engine on its iOS device. In 2022, this amount is estimated to be 20 billion. Microsoft revenue 168 billion. They only made 10 billion in ad revenue, but that's changing. So that is picking up. Microsoft Azure is being named. I'm going through this a little bit quicker now. Here's how Microsoft will be tracking you. They've been assembling a formidable empire in the ad tech space and have multiple ways to access your data. LinkedIn, Xbox, Azure, Bing, Edge, and more. Brands will soon be able to advertise in Xbox. Meta's revenue was 117 billion, almost all of it from advertising. 117 billion from advertising. It's astounding. Anything you do on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, the sign in with Facebook button, from metadata, browser, active data, photos, location, and camera, and metapixel used for retargeting is on over 8 billion sites. Amazon, 469.8 billion, gather data about your preferences so that they can sell you stuff on Amazon. Well, that's also not a surprise. Your purchases, reading habits on Kindle, Prime Video, requests on Alexa, and even more, and even home visitors from Ring. Their software is so good at prediction that third parties hire its algorithms at Amazon Forecast. Some will argue that tech companies created the tech and rightfully own it, but the internet was built with taxpayer dollars. Big tech only owns the application layer that runs on top of free internet protocols. And she has a threat to how the internet works. Security is a real concern. Centralized databases are easy targets. Big tech is responsible for major data breaches and the loss of billions of records. There's a graph here. Microsoft, LinkedIn, Meta, Facebook were involved in the biggest data breaches last year. Another graph with some alarming numbers. In Web3, genius innovators and developers are working around the clock, building an internet that works for all of us. Here's a viral thread from a visionary VC, C. Dixon, that explains the importance of Web3. Another link. I'll retweet this. I find this interesting. And Web3 is not just an improved version of the surveillance internet created by the tech giant. It's a whole new paradigm. In Web3, you are no longer a mere digital serf. I love these wordings. It's so, put on your tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen. But it is true. You are the owner of your identity, content, data, and more. And this is what this was all about. Yeah, the rest before here were just the foundation. So you have a little bit of an idea how we are being abused. So Web 1 was read and read only. Web 2 was read and write. And Web 3 will be ownership, reading and writing. That's kind of like the long and short, according to this woman. NFTs realign the power dynamic for artists, creatives, and small businesses. DAOs transform how companies are owned and structured. Decentralized social apps let you own your identity and community. DeFi removes banks and institutions from financial transactions and services. Yeah. And DIDs, decentralized identifiers, let you issue and control your own identity. But you can sit and wait for this new internet you can't sit and wait for it to unfold. You must learn, use the tech, use the free resources, partnering, blah, blah. That's all, folks. Okay. So she actually highlights a few interesting things. Those are interesting. She talks about the NFTs and how they are being used, and how DeFi and decentralized identifiers can help you out. Yeah. If we go back to what Rebecca Hackworth wrote, it's kind of in line with what they say, but it's a little bit less on the aluminium side of things. But there's a lot of consensus in this space, and one of the things is we don't own our own fucking shit, and I don't want to sound like an aluminium head myself, but it is a problem, and that needs to be solved. And a lot of people are scared.
So basically, you're saying that the platform economy, the gig economy, is actually just benefiting big tech.
Yeah.
And the next iteration of all the gig or platform economy, whatever you call it, is that we take matters into our own hands and start building like the internet was supposed to, and not on the application layer that big tech is laying out.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to, right?
Yeah, but let me give an example. When I look at my feed on Twitter, my feed where I'm being fed, where somebody shoves information down my throat that they want me to see, that I supposedly, quote unquote, signed up for.
You love it. It's your guilty pleasure.
To all the people that I follow. And all my followers, I gained a bunch of followers. Now,
don't you love it?
This entire space is built like this, and obviously, there was the dot-com bubble. A couple of companies survived, most of them died, and we'll see the same with crypto. A couple will survive, and there can be only one. That's not true. But people want to make money, and if you give them power and you give them the room to make money, they will make more money. And regulation is always catching up. So there's a problem. So the big tech companies, they permitted themselves a lot, and they went with don't ask for permission but beg for forgiveness strategy. They didn't go to the lawgivers preemptively. Hey man, we want to store everybody's data for a little bit. Then we run an algorithm and then we sell it so we can just swamp people with advertisements. No, they just fucking did it. And then somebody stood up like, hey, what's going on here? And now there's a big problem. In the future, advertisement won't go away. It simply won't. It's just too profitable. It's too easy. But what you will get is eventually everybody will have, we will be first, remember that. And you will own your own online identity, and you will have the possibility to choose what you're being targeted with. You can choose to be targeted with nothing, but you will not make money on the internet. You will not make money of your behavior. You will not make money on whatever you do. But they won't have anything of you. They won't have any of your data because you're just going to have a window with a bunch of checkboxes of what is visible to whom at what point. It will be pretty, how do you say? Understandable, easy, like a UI, a user interface, same as you have in your game right now, that you can just scroll to with your controller. I think it eventually will be like this. And this will be like 5 or 10 years into the future, but we're talking metaverse here. And you will only be targeted with stuff that you want, because right now what is happening is all these advertisers, they kind of know what you want. They don't know what I want, because I'm like, okay, I just want all the random shit. You're not getting my history. You're not getting my location. You're not getting my this and that. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not doing it right by any means, but I try. But I get all this random shit. So they're just throwing stuff at me, hoping that something will stick. And I have ad blockers left and right, so almost nothing gets through. But it costs them a lot of fucking money. But I am interested in some things. Right now, I'm interested in robot vacuum mops because I don't want to fucking vacuum my house anymore. No, but for instance, let's say that this is of my interest right now. And I am interested in SEO. And I am interested in all these other things. If I get a reminder once a month, Jarno, what do you want to be targeted with? And I get like these targeted ads from Roborock, from Dbot, that are creating the most awesome vacuums. And they can actually offer me a discount for showing me their ads or something like that. Then I technically get paid. And they don't have to shove it into Tim's face or in Buz's face, who doesn't give a shit about vacuums, because that's just a waste of their time and a waste of their money. So it's a win-win situation in the future. And when I have my Robo vacuum, I can just shut that off. But I am now a fan of Roborocks, maybe. So I might want to see targeted ads from other products they have. But I can simply pick and choose what I want to be exposed to. And I think that will be a lot better. And they won't be just randomly tracking and guessing, because you can just, okay, take an hour and set up your Metaverse profile. What are you into? What do you like? What do you love? Where can we contact you about? You can just fill that all out if you want, or you fill out nothing. And then you can choose, do you want to get discounts? Or do you want to pay the full price? Maybe you pay a little bit more of a premium. I prefer paying a premium over advertisement. I don't care. That's why I have now also Telegram Premium. When they go ham on the ads in the future, don't want to see it. I'll just pay you €5 a month. But it will all be optional, and right now it's not. And that will go a long way. The same will go with governments. Right now, whenever you go somewhere, you travel somewhere, you send a copy of your passport maybe to an airport in Abu Dhabi. I don't know. I just was the first thing that crossed my mind. And it's there, and you don't know how to handle it. But in the future, you can have access to your digital identification documents, and you can simply revoke access. You can put a timer on it. You don't have to carry your passport around anymore. Your phone can self-destruct if you push the button on your desktop. So you cannot get hacked. All those things, that will all become a reality. But for now, we need to solve the basics. And the basics are the blockchain and DLT. That's the best security that we have right now. And an example is EPSI, and I'm not going to go into this article because I've been ranting for too much already. It is in the description. They talk about verifiable credentials and citizen to business and citizen to government examples and cooperation for that. But it all starts with interoperability for blockchain and DLT. Then we're going to get the building blocks with the digital identities and the self-sovereign identities and the payments and all of those things. And when identity is solved, according to Martin Hargreaves, then things can start to explode, because then you can give your car an identity, then you can give your phone an identity. And if that's all interoperable, then you can actually start making work with the smart cities. And then you can implement the virtual reality and the augmented reality. And then you're going to get a metaverse that is fucking awesome. And I'm so excited.
Or it's terrifying. Or not.
You know what it is?
They can track you everywhere. No, I'm just baiting you. I'm just baiting you. Please don't. Please don't. Yeah, no, I mean, it all makes sense. And then just processing what you're saying, but it all boils down to the idea of taking matters into your own hands. And the fact that if everything works together, that gets a bit easier. Otherwise, you get sucked into the ecosystem of one tech giant, and you're a terror. They all create a nice interoperable environment as long as you use their product. Yeah,
and we're at the early stages, and we are so early, and it sounds like a cliche, but we really are, and that's why all eyes on LACChain. That's why LACChain and Quant are getting a lot of clout right now and a lot of exposure. There's a lot of big companies doing things. Sorry?
A lot of companies are seeing this, and they are jumping silently into this trend.
Even the Dutch government, and I gave this example before, was in 2016 already trying to solve identity on passports on mobile phones.
Even my parents, they talked. I brought them to the airport last week, and they were like, "Why isn't our passport on our phone?"
You can contribute to the beta, but yeah, it's possible for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some beta testing going on. I also need to do this, but yeah, indeed. And if your parents are like, okay, why isn't this? Then it's fucking time, or it's a top signal. But no.
Hey, don't disrespect my parents like that.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely time, and people are ready, and everybody's talking cashless. That will take a little bit longer. It will happen, but the identity stuff, why the hell would you want a passport? I mean, a passport costs about between 70 and 100 euros ish in the Netherlands, and it has a validity for 10 years. It used to be 5, now it's 10 if I'm not mistaken. But it costs a lot of money to keep those things from getting forged and all those things, and also issuing those things and creating them. I can tell you it costs a hell of a lot more than 100 euros to create a passport. I'm sure of it. I'm pretty sure of it, because there's so much tech in that already, and for many different purposes. But if you can just chuck that on a mobile phone, Not even on a mobile phone. You can have an entry on the blockchain, and you can have decentralized databases that store the information, also encrypted, obviously. Or you can store it on your own computer if you're paranoid. Wouldn't do that, but that's a possibility. You can put it on an NFC, near field communication tag. Those things existed already 15 years ago. You could just program them. I had them all around my house. When I go to bed, I scanned my phone and it will turn off the Bluetooth, turn off the Wi-Fi, turn on my alarm clock, and all those things. Did it all with one swipe. And those things you can do already. You can have them implanted in your hands. So you can have your documents implanted wherever you want, if you want. But yeah, that's the future. And it sounds scary to a lot of people. It looks like magic to a lot. And I'm just dreaming of it. I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, not gonna lie. But I can feel it. I'm passionate about it. And the future like this will take a lot fucking longer without Quant. And with all the partnerships they have right now, and whatever is in the pipeline, LACChain, all eyes on them. EPSI, they'll be looking at this very closely. And I don't know about BSN, but there are a lot of other blockchain continental infrastructures that are just going to copy
That will
paste
follow suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
copy paste what LACChain is doing. It will save them a lot of costs to implement, and it's very, very likely that you're going to see the better to beg for forgiveness instead of ask for permission policy. Also, maybe in Europe, they'll just throw on the blockchain and throw stuff on there. Maybe, I don't know. It's I don't think we should give people the choice in this regard. I think it will take too fucking long. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. 5 reasons why professionals and enthusiasts of self-sovereign information sharing should look into EPSI this summer. That's in the description. I'm exhausted, Tim. Do we have anything that we missed? Do you have questions?
I didn't put anything on Instagram this time around.
Well, that's a blessing then this time around.
Is it?
I don't know.
You were talking most of the show, actually. You were just carrying stuff. Also because, well, honestly, all this digital identity stuff, it's interesting, but it's not like my... I know I should be more interested in it, but to be frank, yeah, I'm like, okay, that's where we're moving, probably.
I thought you were Tim.
Oh, I am.
Why are you telling me you're Frank? Is your lizard identity called Frank? No, don't do it. Oh no.
No.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, no. Yeah, I don't really. Same with CBDCs. It's all nice, but by the time it will impact us, it will be a couple of years down the road. And for the people that say it's terrifying technology, think of the fact that your entire life depends on a couple of companies. Is that what you want? Is corporatio what you desire? Because that's exactly what you're in. You're just shifting the narrative from the government towards companies. Banks control all your money. You are ranting to me about CBDCs on Instagram. Dude.
He's changing the world, okay?
Now, same people who rant about CBDCs on Twitter, like, what are you doing? You're literally giving all your details to Twitter, which is a company, which isn't exactly in your interest. But I find that fascinating.
Very nice cat pictures and gifts, sir.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just find that fascinating, the way of thinking of some people, and it's also the reason why I think
the enemy I know versus the enemy I don't know.
Yeah, and what I find more interesting is just seeing the macro patterns in this. I think when we take it, you make everything very practical. I always like to talk on a higher level of abstraction, and I'm just seeing the next iterations of the gig economy, because we saw what went wrong. We had those ideas back in 2005, 2006. Financial crisis hit. That actually gave room for new companies to develop. It developed companies like Uber, Airbnb. Well, Facebook was already there, but you get the point. Twitter developed in that time. But they went evil in a way, or not evil by design, just by how things
Misunderstood.
went. Yeah. And I think now it's more time to kind of take that back on the internet. I think Vitalik is obviously one of the first people to have done this already back in 2013, 2014. And now we are seeing the next moves. On the other hand, we are in Quant, so if big companies still win the race, we don't really care. It literally doesn't matter for us which.
I'll just buy my own fucking
roads we're
island in
heading.
a couple of years. Ow!
Yeah, we can literally go off the grid, although I don't prefer to. But if you're really thinking that the world will go end by the lizard people, that's something you could do. It's not financial advice, but go for it, I'd say. So yeah, that's kind of the show. And I don't really have anything to bring anymore. I don't have any questions. I didn't specifically notice a lot, and because we are recording on the Tuesday, and the last episode of last Thursday has been out now for a couple of days. It actually performed really well, I must say. I put it out on Twitter, on Instagram. I hit up my old friend Nagato, who helped me spread it, and a lot of people actually watched the video, which is very exciting because I think it's helpful that people saw what we were talking about, that people understand what kind of FUD there was last week, what caused that dip, and why it was so serious, because it was someone from customer support with a very serious background telling that, but also how it got debunked. And we did manage to show you the emails without it starting to live their own life on the internet. I think that's a very good thing of the community, and it deserves a compliment to us all, because we managed to show what happened without documents swerving the internet and fodders coming left and right. So yeah, that's a good thing. And that's all. I hope this video will do just as well. I see Jarlan just listening to my talk, and I'm kind of empty at this stage.
Yeah, and you're gonna see some suggested videos in the end, and maybe something that you're interested in. Let us know, please.
Yeah.
Are you a boy? Are you a girl? How many people? How many percent is male versus female, or doesn't care, or does care but doesn't want to say? Curious. What's your what do you think the average age is, or the range? I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget to like. Don't forget to follow us. Click on the notification bell, and do it on any platform. If you're on Spotify, it helps us out. If you follow us there, if you're on
Quamfy
Deezer,
show everywhere.
Follow us there. If you're on Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Just show some love. I cannot force you to do it, but I would really appreciate it if you did that, because it helps the show. It helps us keep carrying forward.
Yeah.
But this train never stops. If you don't listen, we'll be talking anyway. We literally had 0 listeners. We carry on and we're just ranting to each other.
We'll catch you on the next one.
We'll catch you on the next show. Stay Quamfy. Top.